Hi everyone, and welcome to the first ever Freedom from Religion Foundation Secular Town Hall. My name's Cara and I'll be moderating along with this incredible group of individuals from all over the country. We're going to hear what these secular Americans are passionate about. Let's begin. I want to start by asking you guys a question. How many of you identify as an atheist? Almost all of you. Ingrid, you were born with no religion. What was that experience like?
I think it's like every baby born on the planet. I'm a midwife and I catch babies for a living, and I think every single one I catch is an atheist. I am loud and proud as an atheist now, but have only been able to feel safe in that for the last 10 years or so. That's because the country has changed. And now I feel as free as those babies.
Stephen, why are you proud to be an atheist?
I think that the group that we see here at FFRF is an amazing collection of artists and poets and scientists and writers and some of the greatest minds of the world. And to just be involved with those discussions is enlightening.
You're an African-American atheist, which means that in some respects you're a minority within a minority. What do you say to your cultural group who questions your lack of religion?
I was definitely raised with a very religious upbringing, and there is definitely some tension with my family, especially my grandparents when I came out as atheist, and there was some, I think, just lack of information about the entire community. And I told them that, you know, with the stereotypes that go along with it, who would we be if we were to give in same stereotypes? And so it's kind of hard for people to put me into a box, which I think shouldn't happen in the first place.
What are some of the worst stereotypes that you've heard about atheists?
They're just immoral people. They often confuse us with Satanists, which we're definitely not. If we don't believe in God, we certainly don't believe in his enemy.
The secular demographic is the fastest growing in America, yet the religious right controls all three branches of government, and there are no open atheists serving in Congress. Why do you think it's so hard for an atheist to get elected in this country?
There's tons of polling showing we're the least trusted minority in the country. So it's just currently political suicide for you to be open about your non-religious views if you want to get into politics. But I think that's changing as the demographics are changing.
Then do you think that there are politicians who are actually atheists but haven't said that out loud who are serving right now?
Yeah, I think that's almost certainly the case. If you look at the trends that are associated with atheism, one of them is just being a more highly educated person. So it's just statistically inevitable that some of the people who are currently in elected office, some of them are certainly atheists, but they're just too afraid to be honest about it because they want to get reelected.
Would we be a more peaceful society if there were no religion?
Well, I certainly believe that's true. If our decisions were made based on logic, reason, facts, science, instead of the irrationality of a lot of religious practices, I think things would go much more smoothly. I think that's unrealistic. Unfortunately, people are brainwashed into religious doctrine at such an early time in life from the very beginning that getting the majority of people back out of that mindset is very difficult.
Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos has said she wants to convert public schools in America to God's kingdom. And of course, the Trump administration has pledged $20 billion to spread taxpayer-funded voucher schools across the country. How does this make you feel?
As a parent of kids in the public school system, it concerns me on so many levels. One of them being that, is she going to try and put God into the public schooling that my secular kids have to go to? Or is she going to take money from my secular kids' school and put it into funding religious schools for other kids? Either way, it's not a good option and something that I'm definitely against.
What would you do if you found out that a teacher was telling your kids, your grandkids, that the earth is only 6,000 years old and dinosaurs walked alongside humans?
I would certainly file a complaint with the Freedom from Religion Foundation to have some resources to have this not happen to other children and in other classrooms.
We all know the earth is 7,000 years old.
Do you think more and more people are moving away from religion because the technology in their pockets allows them to just easily debunk things like creationism?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's part of it. I think a major reason that people have historically needed religion is to answer questions that they could not possibly know. So I think that technology is replacing a lot of these like mysterious questions. You can just ask Google anything. And then also we just live in a world where we were able to create Google. Like we're just more intelligent in general. God isn't as necessary anymore.
Mike, do you think that God is being replaced by technology?
I think that the technology is just helping that to happen, helping people to be able to get more information than they could before. It's, you know, the internet is the modern printing press that people didn't know it was possible to be an atheist, didn't know that groups like this existed, didn't have access to science information, science shows, and I think that the internet is helping more and more people come to that conclusion than they probably did before.
Why do you think millennials have stopped going to church?
Well, I think that a lot of millennials on social issues, for example, LGBTQ rights, they are very supportive of full equality and marriage equality. Religion has historically showed a lot of hate towards those groups that millennials see as love.
Cassidy, how do you get your morals as an atheist?
That's such a funny question because I don't think I ever got my morals from religion. Even when I was like a religious kid, like you have your parents telling you like, don't hit, like be nice, share. And then you go to church and it's like a man should not spill his seed on the floor instead of in his wife. And it's like, so it's just confusing to me when people ask where I get my morals from because it was not church.
Do you think that a belief in creationism and in the afterlife makes people think that they don't really need to protect the planet?
If you believe that really our time on Earth is just a small little blip compared to our time with God, and that God created the universe perfectly, then we have no real obligation to protect the planet because we're going to go to some paradise, and the Earth is how God wants it anyway, climate change and all, which, like, to me is the logic of a psychopath.
Can you share a little bit about your story and your fight to remove the Ten Commandments?
Sure. There was a large Ten Commandments monument in front of my daughter's public high school. It had been there for over 60 years. I noticed that she would be having to walk under that shadow every single day. So we brought the lawsuit while she was in middle school. The Freedom from Religion Foundation and I started the lawsuit in 2012, and it took all of 5 years to eventually have the 2,000-pound monument removed.
I want to thank the Freedom from Religion Foundation for organizing this secular town hall. The Freedom from Religion Foundation is the oldest free thought organization in America. They've been fighting for the separation of church and state for 40 years. You can learn more by reading their newspaper, Free Thought Today, listening to their podcast, Free Thought Radio, and of course their new YouTube series, Ask an Atheist. I urge you to go to www.ffrf.org to learn more about their groundbreaking legal work to promote the First Amendment. I'm Cara Santa Maria. I host the Talk Nerdy podcast and co-host the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. I want to thank all of you for participating in this secular town hall.